The first paper is gone for publications, most of you. Okay, two of you, Karim and Tahir, has gone to our journal here, and the rest of the three is external publications.
How can we access this publication so we can see?
Yeah, it will come to you. When it's published, then you'll all get your links so you can download.
So, okay.
So only thing, your job is done. You have to
Thanks.
just wait for the publication to happen. That's all.
Thanks to you. You made most of the job.
Yeah. So that's the first stage. So that shows that you guys have now experience of handling presentations. You have presented. So how to make presentations, how to make the slides. So that was a small beginning, and I hope you'll be able to carry forward. So once you get maybe another this month or next month, we'll have our own presentations here. So whatever you are done, you present it so that you get to know what are the kinds of questions you can get sounded off to help you with your defense. Okay, so these are some of the small things we'll do. Simultaneously, you keep writing because the writing will also consume quite a bit of amount of time because you need to download articles, and incidentally the publications you're done will have adequate papers themselves, so you can use some of them to get into more papers because those guys will individually have another 30-40 papers. So that's how you spread your what do you call your knowledge. So you look at all the papers, you need to sufficiently read because we are going to produce some 40,000 words. It's going to be doing a lot of research. So research is now focused because of the conceptual model, and now you have your articles also. So 30-40 in your publications, and each will have 30-40. So that's the kind of spread you have. So you start to download all those and start looking at each of these papers so that you can come to the chapter 2 and then also finish off chapter 1. Okay. So then chapter 3 is quite easy, depend because most of us will be using mixed method. So you'll have the interviews as well as the questionnaire done. So based on that, you write your chapter 3 from the research onion. Okay. So we'll also discuss it in details later. So just wait for this guy to join. Let me. Because if you look at any paper, so if I may share my screen. Let's say, okay, suppose this is the paper you have produced. Okay, so if you go down, these are the references which has got used. Okay, so this is almost like 30. Okay, so each one will have again 30. For example, if I'm looking at this publication, it is the reference we are used. Go to Google Scholar. So that's primarily the main attraction in writing your paper and getting it published, because it will enhance your knowledge for one, and plus it gives you a lot of perspective how you're going to go forward, and plus by itself it's a good practice to publish. Okay, so you can do it here. Okay, or uh, download any of these versions, or you can go to Google Scholar.
So you said 30 what?
Article papers.
30 articles. But how usually the article, how many words?
It depends. See, for example, I'm just telling it again. I mean, your question, I will answer it later. Just give me a second. So this was the paper which was published. Okay. So like all your papers. So this will have around 30 of this. Okay. Approximately. It may be more or less. So I just copied this reference to Google Scholar. Okay. And it is got this is the thing. So I go into this paper because it's a PDF. Okay. You can download. The PDF version is here. The references for this, if you see, is again 30. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. So if you're looking at 30 of that paper you have published, multiply each one with 30, so there are about 900 references already. So most of your work is done. Are you getting the point?
Yes. So what is the difference between this and peer review?
Peer review has got nothing to do with this.
So
Peer review is only when this goes for publication,
mm,
this article, that is peer review. That is, we invite other people to take a look at it to whether it's okay for publication or it has to be changed with
so
minor revisions or no.
peer review means it's more accredited as our stronger paper, yes?
Yeah, most of the publications will be peer reviewed. No, like what when we are publishing your paper in our journal or external journal, all will be peer reviewed.
Mm.
Okay, so that's got nothing to do with you, especially on the dissertation. It's only a question I'm answering. Okay, so please focus on this. So 30 papers into 30 papers is 900 already. So you can't complain that there is no papers, I can't find reference and all. Is that clear?
Okay.
Clear.
So your job is easy because of the references you get from that, plus you got conference presentation experience, you know what are the kinds of questions you asked, and it is exactly it's covering one of the major aspects of your already dissertation. Okay, so that's the reason we had to undergo this process, and I hope you guys have learned a lot. Okay, so now any questions? Now you ask your questions.
No, I mean, before the dissertation and taking the certificate, usually do we have to publish how many papers usually do you need to publish? I mean, I understand that we need to do this after finishing our DBA, or we have to do it also before the DBA.
I don't know that. Generally, we are recommending one paper, which we already done, also, all of you.
So, I mean, that's enough for us until finishing our dissertations.
Unless they change it, you will have to get in touch with the admin. Okay, Abhijit will answer that question. If you
Mm.
want to publish, you can publish more. No, it's not a problem.
So
Now
let's
you know the
okay.
now you know the process. The whole idea of dissertation. What when you're giving a DBA, what do you think we are saying?
Just how to be an expert in research and writing.
Yes. So we are saying that you have got the capability of doing research.
Mm.
Okay, you know how to know the system of how to follow a proper research, credible research, and that's the part of this is the publication.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
so
I
that's what
understand.
it says. That's what the whole certificate says. So when
Yeah.
you get a certificate, you are pretty sure this is what it's going to say. So it's not about what's written on the certificate. This shows very clearly that you are capable of doing research, and at that credible research at that level, and you know how to go through the rigor of research and how to write papers and how to publish your own work.
Yes.
Okay,
But what's missing from my side is how to manage my time. That's still the big issue.
so that we cannot teach you. So it's your time. You got to manage it.
The- but again, I kept asking, what is the schedule? What is I mean
The
that
schedule has already been shared, Karim, with you. You can make it 1 year. You want to make it 2 years. That is
yes.
your issue.
So we are working based on 2 years right now from my side.
According to me, if you do the data collection within 5 6 months, you can still on time without, because there's nothing much left after that. It's only the writing part and analysis.
But
Analysis will take you about 15 20 days. That's
because
it.
I'm still in the first chapter, so that's why I'm still behind.
Yeah, you have to manage your time. So I'm saying that I'm preparing you for 1 year. You can as well as take 2 years.
So
I
you're
got no issues.
so doctor, you're trying to make it 1 year still.
Yeah, I'm covering all the aspects of it. So then when you want to do it is your baby, right?
Like, can I
You
ask
want
you?
to,
You said chapter 3, the collecting and interviews and surveys will take 5 months. So which part that takes all this time? I mean, collecting the data
survey.
for
Data collection is the toughest part.
so
That's the
how
most.
many months for collecting the data from the interviewers and all of
Five
this?
to 6 months. Once you have the conceptual model, by
Mhm.
next week you will have your questionnaire and interview questions ready. So after that, 5 months.
5 months for everything in the chapter 3 methodology, everything.
Yes. And
Uh,
then this the writing. So simultaneously, you're not going to wait. No, you're going to start writing chapter one, chapter two.
mm,
So by the time the data comes, you already have chapter three and chapter four ready, and you just conclude it.
okay. And we still have to stick to the 40,000 words.
Yeah, that is for any case it will happen, no? Because you have that much constraints. See, if you have got 25 constraints, so what I mean by a constraint is each of this is a constraint. So if you go and look at it, one, two, three, four, five. So five each is 25 already. So if that is 6, 30. So
Mm,
30 into one page is 30 pages.
mm,
So the calculation is very simple. So 30 pages means 30 into 500, 15,000 words already done.
mm.
So it's a question of how you're writing it. So not waiting for when heaven is going to fall on you.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm saying I can only guide you to the point of what to do, how to do, and why to do, and all is your prerogative. I don't want to fall into that domain. Okay, I tell you this is to be done like this, and I can guide you up till that. So finding time management is always a researcher's prerogative. You can take 2 months, you can take 5 months. A lot
Yes.
of guys who take 5 years also. So it depends on what you want to do. Okay, it's like you're married. So when you want to have a baby, is your prerogative. You can have it 1 year, 2 year, 5 year, 25
Mm.
year, whenever.
But
Okay.
sometimes you will try, but there is no luck of having baby.
So that's the earlier the better. That's why the longer you drag it, you're going to have issues.
Okay.
Okay. So mental issue, physical issue, same goes with research. The more you're going to drag it, you get fed up. So as
Yes.
well as finish it and get out. So the whole idea is to get it done in a year so that it doesn't drag much. Is that clear?
Yes, very.
Simi, can you still get in Khalil because I'll have to repeat the whole thing then later. Why is he not coming?
Uh,
He's already
Doctor,
there.
can we?
Yes, yes, sir.
No, I was saying that can we start, Doctor, because then we can because it's recorded, right? So whoever has missed can actually listen to the recording.
It's not about the listening to the recording. The problem is how to do it because once go into that, Simi, can you just remind him again?
Khalil is already available, doctor. He has
Is
joined.
there?
I'm in the
Is
Yeah.
call,
there?
doctor. Yeah, I'm in the call.
Okay, okay, thank you. Because I
Yeah.
thought you're not joined. Okay,
No,
so
it's,
now you can go ahead.
yeah, thank you.
So basically starting from the conceptual model. Okay, so I'll just show you. Uh, let's say you have this paper. Okay. So all of us have this and the hypothesis. Okay. Now, how do you develop the question? So depending on this, you would like to know what is your demography of the respondents. So we also discuss how to do the sample calculation, right? So let me also show it again because that's part of the figure, because that's normally a asked question. Because it's a very important aspect of it. So let's say for our purposes, we keep this as 95, and obviously when this is 95, the margin of error is 5. Okay, I'm looking at the interviews, or let me do with the first the survey. So I send a survey email, so it may get answered or not. So the probability is 50%, yes or no. Okay, so based on all this, I say calculate. Okay, so this is 385. So we're not looking at that kind of rigor. So what I do is we are looking at 90%. Okay, so obviously this becomes 10. Okay, so we're looking at 60, 60 to 70 or 75 kind of sample. Okay, so this calculation is based on the statisticals which are given below. Okay, this is the calculation which is done, and that is reflecting there. Okay,
So
so
what
we need to,
population size do we need to fill this?
yes, you need to fill this, take a snapshot and put it on your chapter 3, because this is the sample. How did you decide what is the sample?
No, I'm talking about the number. Do we put population size? What is the population size? It's empty.
Population size is, you can put, because it depends. Suppose you're looking at very expertise, this thing, you can put a 500. Okay, but generally if you don't know, you keep it as 20,000.
So this is, we are talking here about the survey, not the interviews, huh?
No, not the interviews. Interviews are not started. Okay, still it will not vary much. Okay, it will just vary by 1 or 2. See here, still it is in the 60s. So you can leave it empty if you want and get it. So empty means we are looking at maximum spread. Okay, so that's the calculation. So any doubts on this? Because this is generally asked as a question.
Yes, but what is the minimum required sample size? I
This
understand.
is the minimum.
This is the minimum?
Yes, it gives you the minimum calculation for validity and reliability.
This is the validity,
Okay.
of course. But no,
Okay,
I'm
so if
talking,
you want more, you can make it more. That's not a problem.
but
We will accept it.
what is required from us? What is the minimum sample size? Like
This is
100?
the minimum, because this is the minimum we are looking at. So anything 75 to 100 is fine for the questionnaire. Is that clear?
So
But then this is the minimum.
okay, so the Viva, the panel will accept this number, I mean.
Panel still, because provided you are able to explain it like the way I'm explaining it. That's why I'm asking you to listen.
Mm.
Okay. So we need to look at, because it's from application point of view. Okay. And it's not a clinical kind of survey. So clinical means the respondents value is enhanced, because it's a life and death kind of situation. Whereas in business, it's just a question of probability. Okay, so that's why we are keeping it 90% and we are accepting an error of 10%. Is that clear?
That's clear.
Okay, and then you keep this. Okay, but when you calculate the P, T, and F values, okay, so P, we generally look at 0.05 as the caps. So it comes from the margin of error. Okay, what is the error which is okay with you? But while calculating statistically, we keep it as 0.05. But here for the sample, we are making it loose because our uni is ready to accept it as this levels. Okay, so that is why you are saying the minimum is 69 to 70. You can go up till 300. You can do 400, whatever you want. The minimum is that. Is that clear?
Yes.
Minimum is required to hold on to the validity and reliability of your research, which is a must. You should know how to connect it. So they may ask you why you think your research is valuable or reliable and how did you validate it. So this is the way of validation from statistics. Okay, is that clear?
Yes.
Okay, and this is normally asked question. So next is we take it to go for your let's say interview sample. Okay, so what happens to the interview is it's not a 50-50 chance. So I go for interview only when I know the person. Okay, so the chances of getting the interviews done is let's say 90%. Okay, and I can leave this. Okay, this is 25. So 25 is the sample size, but generally what happens is when you take 25, the repeatability of the opinion is high. Okay, so that's why what we do is we say that the interviews I'll go provided the interviewee is ready to take the interview. So I can increase this to 95 and I come with a figure of 13. Okay, so now it also takes care of the repeatability of the opinion of the experts, because if you're going to take for 25, generally it's seen from experience that after 12 or 13 there is no difference because all the things will get just repeated. Okay, so this is the bare minimum. Is that clear?
Clear.
Okay, so this is how we make the calculation. And the for the uh, what do you call the questionnaires. Okay, so now we have to keep in mind that the questionnaire is going to be generally looking at the stakeholders. Okay, so who are the stakeholders? Now depending on, let's say you're doing it for banks, so any banker is a stakeholder, the government is a stakeholder, the user is a stakeholder. So ideally I would go for a mix of each of these. Okay, not sticking to one. Okay, so the stakeholders I try to spread it. Let's say I'm looking at 100 as a sample size, so I'll ensure that 5 different stakeholders or 4 different stakeholders, 4 to 5, 25 each. Is that clear? That's a good mix and it will remove the bias. Why we are spreading it like this is I don't want the bias to creep into the survey. So what is bias is, again, if I go to similar like people or similar people, they're going to all of them say in a particular way, yes or a no or likely or all that. So I don't want to keep the bias in the research. So I remove the bias by spreading it more to the regions and also the what is their job profile and whether they're customer, user, official, government official, or not part of these at all, okay, or related field, all of them are stakeholders. Is that clear? So that will make your job very easy. So getting 100 people from across the various domains is not a tough job. Okay, and you got 5 months, 4 to 5 months. Generally what happens is when you send a Gmail or an email survey, they're going to ignore it. So physically you can follow up with them, okay, cajole them to do it. So even if you're covering 5 a day, okay, so it will not take you more than 20 days, but it's idealistic. So even if it is one per day, you still have 100 days and you have 4 to 5 months. Is that clear? So that's not a tough order. That's why we're starting early. Any questions at this stage?
Yes.
No,
So
it's
that
clear from my side.
okay. So that clears the number of people you are going to interview for questionnaire, number of people you are going to do for the experts, the interviews. Yes. Any questions? Anyone? Khalil, Tahir.
So you recommend record five different questions, yes?
Yeah. I'm coming to that. Wait. You're always jumping the gun.
So
Karim,
why
you're
you said any questions? Don't tell me any questions. I'm not going to ask any questions.
yeah. So I'm coming point because all of these can be a question in your defense. So please pay attention and go through this video couple of times, and then we will have mock interviews, mock presentations also in between. Hopefully, you can have another presentation in the conference somewhere, and that
So
will help you.
let me ask a question back in what you have said. Do you have like a sample email or letter that we can use to send to the participants?
Again, you are jumping the gun. I have not
Again,
got to that point.
maybe I'm very smart. I don't know. This is not
You're,
jump. This is
you're,
what.
all, you're looking for problem as soon as something is said to you.
No, you said ask questions. I'm
Yeah, so I'm coming to that. Sabr,
this simple question. The format of an email.
Sabr. So I'm asking you the question till what I've covered. I'm not asking you to
Okay.
ask something in futuristic. Okay, and we'll ensure that we'll go through all this, whatever is that. Okay.
No,
So
no more.
now, yeah. You ask a question. I'm saying that I'm going to cover that part. So in that case, because I will have to go here. Okay. So now we know how to calculate the sample size and basically the sample size and why it's required to calculate. Okay. Now based on this conceptual model, I need to develop the questions. So which I'll do it on Word now. So now I need to check what are the demographic profile I would like to handle. What are the kind of people I would like to interview? Sorry, because first I'm developing the questionnaire, the survey questionnaire. So what are the kind of people I would look at? So basically, the age should be above 18. Okay, and more so people who are logical and who are in that current domain, okay, which is going to have some say on your topic. Okay, for example, let's say you're looking at a oil trading, for example. Okay, so I'm going to look at people who are in the trade. I'm also going to look up people who are trading. Okay, people who are also speculating on the forwards on the oil. Then I'm going to look at experts from the oil field. Okay, I'm going to look at people at government level who are in the regulation of oil. So any of these is a stakeholder. Okay, so obviously I would like to capture the demographics. So I'd like to know what they are, and so the obvious question is I would like to know which field they belong to is one question. So obviously I would like to know what is the age, whether they are above 18. So I will also like to know whether they are male or female. So whether knowledgeable or do I am looking at is are the males, is this oil trading male dominated or female dominated or equal bias? Okay, so things like that. So depending on this, on your title and framework, you're going to develop this demography. Okay, so demography is basically to capture and to get some conclusive evidence on the research area rather. So is a collection of demographics of the participants for further analysis. So I'm asking them to specify the age. So this you can set it as you want. You can make it 18 to 25, 18 to 30, whatever groups you can make. Depends on how you are looking at. But whatever you do, please have a good logic justification because they can ask you a question on this also, why you have kept it like this and not the other way. Okay. So why we need to capture the demographics also I have made a relevant point. So you need to develop your justification for collecting the information because you're not going to collect information which you don't require, and obviously you're not going to bother the time of the respondents by asking a useless question, because you may get the information, but if you're not going to be used for the research, it is a useless question in that sense. Okay, or if you're able to justify it, then that's your thing, because this can be asked as a defense question. So the highest qualification, does the education matter in your subject? Okay, so whether the profession matters, whether the income matters, so it depends on, in this case it is basically because it's the the agenda is on holistic circular model factors. That's why the age matters, not so much as, because you can start even a person who is quite young in 15 16 and practices a circular economy, that it doesn't waste time, it doesn't waste material, that kind of concept you already set in. So obviously whether male female matters, the qualification matters, because we'd like to, maybe if you're more educated, you understand the norms of circular economy better. Okay, so things like that. So it depends on what the information you're going to collect and your logic of getting it. Okay, so also it has to do with the profession, because if they are in a sort of a profession in which this is not talked of or nothing you know about it, okay, so that can also be a analysis. So the next point is how I'm going to develop this question. So please pay attention here. So if you look at all this, okay, these are hypotheses which you have developed. So each of these main constant has sub variables. Okay, now each of these sub variable will have a question. Okay, so if I have 1 2 3 4 5 6 in the first one, okay, so how I formulate the question is, I'm going to say relation between the independent variable, because all these are independent variable, all this is independent variable, because nothing else is depending on them. Okay, they are not dependent on anything else, whereas this factor is depending on all of these according to how the conceptual model we have developed. So that's why this is a dependent variable and all the other boxes of independent variable, and the other things are independent subvariable. These are the dependent subvariable. Okay, again a matter of question, okay, in your defense. So please be very sure and very clear when you do this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, I'm saying that the social relationship between the independent variables and the dependent variables, the social dimension factors, that's the first box, okay, depends on all this. I'm writing this 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, so 6 questions. I'm going to formulate that. So I'm going to say that the social dimension factors depends on all this as per the conceptual model, and I believe that the social dimension factors that will influence the rainbow economic holistic circular model. Okay, and I'm saying please express your opinion on this statement by marking the most appropriate one. So if you look at, this is the main factor, and 1 2 3 4 5 and 6. Okay, so here I need to code them, because for analysis only the figures will, and text is not very amicable to any manipulation by analysis. So I give a code. So social dimension factors SDF is the main code. This is first code SDF1, which shows that it's linked to here. Okay, 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, and I'm using a 5 scale, Likert scale. So why not 3 and why not 7 is basically because 3 is too less, because if I'm going to say agree, neutral, disagree, okay, so I'm not giving the respondent a spread, a range. Okay, a 5 is a very indicative of that, whereas if I'm going to make it a 7 scale, what will happen, it becomes very tiresome for the respondee to respond, because what will happen is Each of these, when you're developing the questionnaire, so 6 and the choices are 7. So 6 into 7, 42 blanks are in front of it. He has to understand and mark it. Okay, so it becomes very tiresome and longish, and the the respondent will not have that much time, because generally you get a survey, you would like to finish it in maybe 8 to 10 minutes, not more than that. If it's more than that, it's not going to get completed. Okay, so that's exactly the reason why we use a 5 scale Likert scale. Okay, and not the 7 and the 3. Again, a matter of question in your defense. Okay, so likewise, each of these boxes, I'm going to write this. Okay, so 5 boxes, all the 5 boxes are here. One by one, systematically, I'm doing to do that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So each of these is going to be a part of this question. So 6, 7, 8 is going to be the from the independent, and the dependent also will creep in here. So here use the dependent column. So I believe there are factors for the dependency, or that is the railway economic holistic circular model depends on, and I formulate that. So is that clear?
That's
Huh?
Yes, clear.
So everyone, I want to yes from everyone.
Yes, doctor.
Put a thumbs up. Put a thumbs up, all of you. Okay. Tahir. Okay, good. So that's very well understood. So now I'm going to look at how to put this fellow on the Google form. Okay. So generally, it's better to use a Google form. Most of the surveyors use that. So it's easy for the respondents because they're already used to Google form, and a survey monkey is very sophisticated and used hardly. Okay, so we'll just follow the norms and make it easy for our respondents to follow and not give them something unique. So what I do is, let's say I looked at this. Okay, the Google form is basically, I just open it up. Okay, I can start a fresh form. Okay, so I am using a one which I already formulated to help you understand it better. Okay, so title will be put here first. So title of this. Okay, so then I'm going to say the survey will help determine the various factors. Okay, this way. Then I'm
Boss,
going to ask for the email. Yes, yes, Pep.
it's you. We are looking at the screen. It's not the. We are not sharing the screen.
Ah, you're not sharing screen. Okay, 1 minute. So you sign into Google account, and Google form is part of it. I say plus and I get a fresh form. Okay. So I'm using a one which I already done. So this is the title and this is what I write here. Okay. So I'll be sharing this as a sample for you to go through. Now I'm going to write to the participant. Okay. So this was a question which Karim had asked. So I'm going to say that, dear participant, I appreciate your willingness to complete this questionnaire, which will only take a few minutes of your time. The research is blah, 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 whatever you want to say there. Okay, that aims to study it. And you very clearly say, I will use the information supplied for the sole purpose of this research and ensure that the participants identified is remain uh, anonymous. Okay. And then in the next one, you put the conceptual model. So let me show you very clearly section wise. So the first one, when I say section 1, okay, so there'll be this which is standard to the Google form. Okay. So when I say that, I'm asking to add a question. So I just put this everything as I show. Okay. So I'm just showing you this, and here, because there's no choice anything, it's just a paragraph you're going to put. So you mark a paragraph and you won't get the choices of this. Okay. So next thing is the letter. So it's a paragraph. You're not going to, this is a picture you're going to place, still a paragraph, nothing to say there. Okay. So hypothesis is a picture again, or copy of text, paragraph. So now is the this thing what you have here. Okay. So now if you look at this is the paragraph. Okay. So here I'm going to use a round button, because obviously when you're looking at age, I cannot have two ages. So it's only one option which is there. So I'm going to use a multiple choice. Okay. So, and I fill up all this. So you can actually, Google form is very amicable. You just have to make it on your this thing and just copy it, and it will accept all this, the text as it is in the same order. And you have to copy this and put it there, it will copy. Okay, come one below the other. So it understands that much because of the usage. So I told you what is the function of the round button. Okay, so this is again a round button, because it's only a single choice, and also wherever you require, please ensure that this is required. Okay, out here, because if that is not filled, the respondent cannot go further. Okay, so it will give a red mark there, and obviously he has to add. Okay, so it's a mandatory filling for them. Okay, again same ways, otherwise you'll have a lot of missing values, which will be a problem while cleaning the data set. Okay, so please ensure you lock it. And what is the highest degree is again a bottle. Okay, married status is there. Okay, so only thing is, if I'm looking for a, this is because you have formulated highest degree of education. So if I'm looking at something from profession, like in the earlier case, so I have to say, please mark your profession, and I'm giving this. Then at that time, I can use the checkbox, because a profession, it can be a trader, it can be a teacher also. So I allow him the checkbox to be used. Okay, so it becomes as a checkbox which will come there. Okay, so these are the variations which you'll normally get. And the fifth part is now is this part. This part is exactly coming from as a paragraph. Okay, from this what I showed earlier, this first paragraph. This I'm going to place it there. Okay, this is the second paragraph, and then I'm going to use a multiple choice grid, because I got a rows and I got columns. In the columns I fill up this: strongly disagree, disagree, always negative first to the positive, because that's the order. So you code that as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 scale. Okay, and here the rows also along with the code. Okay, along with the code, see here SIF1, so that when you export it, it will come in the Excel sheet. It is easy for you to code it and transport it to the SPSS or the Edenco or a Peerless. Okay, so likewise you continue and finish off all the sessions. So once you're sure of this, then you can send it, and you can get the link, copy the link to on your email for, or the WhatsApp or Insta or whatever you want to do. So is that clear?
Yes, boss.
want everyone. Why everyone is not answering it?
Yes, doc, it's clear.
Okay. So that finishes the the questionnaire part. Okay. Now we come to the interview questions. So for the interview questions, so going back to the same thing, same conceptual model. Now each of these I need to ask a question on. Okay, each of these boxes. So first, because the interview questions, maybe you can share with the guys earlier. So these are the kind of questions I'm going to ask so that the guy is not surprised. So these are the interview questions, and each of these sub questions will be asked like this. Okay, so how that's going into more details. Okay, so for collaborative consumption, that is the first sub variable. Okay, so I'm asking smaller questions of the guy. So how does collaborative consumption contribute to creating a wealthy and a healthy society? So what role does collaborative consumption play in monitoring, in promoting equitable sustainability factors? How can collaborative consumption enhance vibrant social factor, value factors, and so on? So you can add more questions you want. So generally your interview should be around 30 to 45 minutes, should be able to complete. So you can make this structured based on all this and send it to them. And then you can hold the question, the interview, record it, and you can transcript it. Most of the current, like when you do a Google Meet or a Teams, you can transcript it, because once you record it, it can be transcribed. Or even Google, you can upload the recording, it can transcript it. So now the coding is already done because you have these codes. So SDF is a code, and the subcode is CC, that is SDF1 is CC. Okay, so likewise I already have these codes. So transcription is done, and the coding, and the even for the interviews it is already done. Okay, and the theme is, each of these box is a theme. So why I'm repeating again is, they ask you what is the theme, how did you do thematic analysis. So each of these box is a theme. Okay, so I'm asking.
Doctor, is
Yes,
it
please.
mandatory to record the interviews? Because some of the
Yes.
professionals might not want it to be recorded, and they would just
Yeah,
ask
but
us to
that
note
info
down.
you can tell them, the this thing will not be shared with anyone. As far as possible, try to record it, just in case they ask. But if the guy doesn't, is very what do you call against it, we can't force it. Okay, in that
Okay.
case, you can say that this has been written because it's been heard and transcribed.
Okay, got it.
But do have some of these interviews recorded. Okay, they may come back. Excuse me, I'll just have some water. Yeah. Sorry. Okay, so each of these will have a question. the each of these box, and each of this is a theme. Are you able to appreciate that? Because this is a standard question. How did you make the thematic analysis? So each of these conceptual model box is a theme. The constraint, if it's a conceptual model, if it's the same as the theme, and it's already, the coding is already done because each of this is got a code. So that's the advantage of using the conceptual model. Okay, so this is a standard question. Will you remember and answer that? And you can develop your own way of saying it. Any questions? Hello?
So far is good, Prof.
Okay. So the thematic, once I transcript it, okay, I will have this so that I can summarize it. So which I'll show you how to do the summary also. The summary is actually any of the papers we prepared were all on thematic analysis. Okay, most of us did that. So you see how we summarize it. So you're saying that this person has said this on this particular thing, and we just give the credentials of the person. We're not going to name the person. We're not going to look at the organization also. So what level and belonging to which location. That's good enough to say. So the summary is very, very clear in the paper itself. So the paper we published, okay, so we have done very clear thing. So all this is, the first box is basically on the first theme. So let's say I'm going to look at, in this case, the social media. Okay, so the first, see here, social media use. So the social media platforms shape patient expectations for telemedicine, so on. So these are the, so based on the conceptual model is a theme, and the thematic analysis is based on the codes which I have developed. The coding is the same as what I'm coding there, which I showed you earlier for the survey questionnaire. Okay, and that's how it becomes very easy for you to go down and ask these questions. Okay, because part of it is already done. Your job becomes very, very easy. So I don't have to use a software to actually code it, because the coding, the question is answered in the coding message itself. So each one, so I know where exactly it fits. Okay, so the coding is to only to keep them grouped in a particular manner as far as the theme. So my theme is very clear. I got this theme, and under these questions are there. So the coding is also very clear. So this, if I call this is SDF, that's what we did there, and this is SDF1. So the coding is already done, which what we use for the questionnaire. Yes, is that clear? Because this is a standard question. Some of you were not able to answer in the conference also. That's why I'm coming to that. So this is the second one, which the code would be EDF, and this will be EDF1, and so on. And this will be obviously EDF2, and so on.
Dr. Shankar. So
Yes.
EDF, do we put EDF1 and red? So red is a code also, or only one?
No, this is based on something else. This red is here.
So why do we put colors?
Because that conceptual model is based on, this is a paper I have developed. So basically, holistic thing is based on the framework which I developed for that. Okay,
I
not to
mean,
be confused here.
in our case, we just put the main code.
You just, yeah, main code in it. Okay, so if you look at here, the, see here.
Okay.
So this is the framework I had developed. So this is the referring to that color.
This belongs to you. Okay.
Yeah, this is the framework I developed for. This is a well-cited paper also. So in your case, you just have to put the what do you call, the red and etc. will not show up there. Okay, so it will be very clear. So in your case, it will be just this. Okay, so I just given you an example of that. That's all. Because since it's already a published paper, so I'm not going to. It's not going to affect our working. Okay, so LO and all will not come in your thing. That will not come. Okay, clear?
Yes.
So that way you do the coding and you ask the question. So you record it and transcript it, and the same thing you summarize it here, one by one. All the questions are this, and sometimes it's repetitive. So you also say where it's repeated. So some of these questions will be. So you see here in the summary, what I'm saying is this guy or X, male, female, not mentioned. It's an international consultant and from London and UK. Okay, and this is what the person is saying in terms of code, in terms of our conceptual model.
It's
And
11 o'clock.
who else is saying this is this? Okay, and that's how we do it. So what was that? It's asking to extend. Okay, so that part is covered. So it's very clear now how you are developing the question and how you are developing the questionnaire. So these are the two things. Okay, and how to put it on the Google form is explained. Yes, any questions? So once this is done, what will happen is if I download the whole form once it's done, so I'll just cover quickly another 5 minutes and then we are done for the day. So all this is done. So responses are like this. So Google form will capture all this timestamp, the emails, all this. You can use these graphs for your analysis straight away. And for the further analysis, I'm going to say here, link to sheets, I can download as a CSV. Okay, the CSV is similar to the Excel. So I can save it first download and then I can uh, change it to your relevant software, what's required, or the Excel. Okay, so when I come there, so it will look like a Excel. So these are the contents. So you see the timestamp, what time the person has answered it and who has answered it. Because this you're not going to reveal. This is for your consumption and internal thing. So these are all the questions one by one, and it's already coded. Okay. So then what I do is I change that all this to strongly agreed. Let's say agree is 4. So I need to replace this by 4. So I need to find agree and replace it by 4. Okay, that's one way of doing it, or that's the best way to do actually. And one by one you can see, and this will get reflected. So once that is done, the coding, how it will look, for example, after the coding. So I'll just use the output. So only the codes will appear. It will look like this, clean. Okay, only the codes appearing, and these are the codes which is initially put. Okay, and this can be very handled by SPSS or Adanco. So if I'm using Adanco, for example, how the output will look is, let's say,
What is Arenco?
Adanco is a software which will be able to give you this kind of outputs, or you can use Peerless or you can use SPSS. Okay, so these are the factors which are there and how it's connected to each one. Okay, so this is the kind of output it can give, and then I can export the calculation, everything. So this report which will come, it shows all the beta values, t values. It will give me the callback alpha, can give me the this thing, all this is for the validity and the what do you call, the reliability of testing. Okay, so there'll be a multi-page this thing. This is the total output which I can extract. Okay, but suppose you don't have this software, it's actually very easy to handle. I prefer using Adenco or Peerless because it's easy to handle how one box is depending on the other. Okay, so SPSS can handle to some extent, but I have to download with the Amos extension. It comes to same hard work. So what it means is like collaborative consumption, and how does it go with wealthy society. So our collaborative consumption, how does it affect vibrant societal value factors? Whereas if I do on SPSS, I have to do one thing at a time. So one box to the other, then I attack the other one, and interpersonal again. So many combinations it will take, and I have to do it on Amos extension. So it will be much more handling. Whereas here I just have to plug in. I just all this will, when I import it on Adenco, for example, I'll just show you that. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to open an Adenco, the same file. Just 2 minutes, so there's a finish. So you see how easy it becomes. So I want to save it somewhere here. So it'll ask you where you want to save it. So maybe I can do it in the downloads. Okay, I create a name. Let's say today's date. Okay, save it. It opens out. I want to import this guy. Import the data. Okay, next. Defining the variables. I finish it. So I got all these constants here. Now I do just place it into this. Okay, so it becomes very easy. And then I, depending on what I want to remove, basically, because if everything should be above 0.7, anything below that I remove it. So deletions can be done very easily. Like for example here, okay, this guy is not fit to be there because it makes my whole constant out. So I just cancelled it. Okay, I retain these guys. So then least of these is a least. I delete this guy. Okay, now I see it's all good. So I just rename this and keep going for all the. This is the first constant is SIF, and then I pull in all these factors, and then I can just add how it goes. For example, I'll just show you one more. How this guy goes with this. Okay, so this is a beta for this. 0.4 for point, anything beyond 0.25 is good. This is a good correlation. Okay, so this is how we proceed. Whereas in the IBM will be including this, and it will also handle, but it's just related to one. Here I can do all the variations. Okay, so that's all for today. So any questions on this?
Thank you so much, Doctor, for my side.
Thank you,
Okay.
doctor. I have a question for
Yes,
whiting.
Karim.
For
Yes,
the
please.
whiting, can we use latex for whiting, or just only using our office like Word document?
You can use latex, but ultimately when you submit, it's going to be a Word document.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So you can import that into Word also.
Okay. For the structural equation modeling that we are showing on Adanko, we have also JASP, GASP, that can also facilitate that for
Yes,
the.
yes. There are many softwares with Adanko. This thing I'm more comfortable, and it's similar to Peerless. Peerless is also very good software.
Okay.
You can use whichever. If you're even comfortable Excel, and then you want to do it, you want to do donkey work. It's okay with me.
Okay. Thank you, Prof.
Okay. Yes, Karim. That answers all your questions. Any
No
futuristic
more
questions?
questions. But my only concern that maybe some of the surveys I'm gonna distribute it physically, so this will make
That's okay. Write it down.
a longer process.
That's why we are keeping that 4 to 5 months. No. There was
Okay.
a guy who did everything on last week only. I had that guy. He's also DBA. So he's done everything because it's in Nigeria. They don't understand. So he has written all the forms and then converted to the Excel.
You plug it in the Excel. Okay.
So you can physically do it, and then you can keep those.
I have to go through all the recording. Then I will have some questions later, maybe.
Yeah. No
Okay.
problems.
Thank
But
you.
the earlier you start the interviews and this thing, so you get some 5 months clear time. I don't want to cramp you with less time there. So once that is started, then you do a couple of interviews, couple of emails, then okay how it's going. So you get more time to focus on that. So as I said, even if you're doing one a day, that's still 70 only. So you got 100 days. You're looking at 120, 150 days, 5 months.
But still, do we need to send you the questions before distributing it?
Yeah, please have send
very
it to me so I can see how it's okay or no. Otherwise, what will happen is you'll miss out something. Then in the end, the analysis will become tough.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Doctor,
So you can do that. You can send it to me. Prepare the drafts. Send it to me. Get it approved. Also, you can initially send it to some expert so that you can send it to each other actually to peer review. That's also a peer review. Now all of you are published paper. What you call perps. Okay, so you're capable of peer reviewing each other. So you have your contact numbers, or you can ask Simi. So you can send to one of them, and then you can. Of course, I'll also supervise that. I'll see that, and one because there's some suggestions always good. No problem.
I can we use AI in helping us creating this kind of questions or?
Yeah, AI can help you get the notes, but how you finalize it finally, and then you develop your logic of how it's connected. That you need to sit and do. AI can help you. You can take the help of ChatGPT or any of those to get the questions. Not a problem, because the conceptual model was self made by you. So rest of the help is only notes.
Okay.
So only thing when you produce it on the main document, everything has to be from you.
Okay.
Of course, the notes can be developed using ChatGPT. That all of us do. Even I do the notes.
Yes. I'm
And
just for the sake of
yeah.
ethical.
AI is a
part.
must these days because
Okay.
it gives you a lot of perspective. No
Yes.
issue as far as that.
Yes.
We accept that. Only thing when you produce it on your document, you write it in your own words. That's all.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay. All good, guys.
Thank you so
Let's
much.
have, let's have a thumbs up.
Thank you, doctor.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. See you guys. All the best. See you.
See you. Take care. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, Prof.
Yeah, I'm ending it. Okay. Bye.